Hey guys, Jeff here with the Common Sense Camper. Hey, what's that? It looks like a hammock tent. That's right. So I've been looking into buying a tent. Now I think I'm still going to purchase a tent because I don't think this is going to be a viable option as just a tent. However, I wanted to see if there was a way I could use my Ridge Runner by Warbonnet hammock, since it is a square footprint, a rectangle footprint. Could I set it up as a tent if I was out in an area where I thought I was going to be hammock camping, and come to find out there's no trees, or either no trees or the trees are not conducive to hammock camping. So I wanted to find out the cheapest way to set this up as a tent, and with the least amount of additional items, like additional guy lines and more stakes and just a bunch of nonsense gear that's going to add another pound to my pack. I came up with a solution, and so if you have a Warbonnet Ridge Runner hammock, you're going to want to see this because it's not bad as a backup plan. Okay, so this is what I have so far. I put down this window kit. This is actually like an insulating kit for windows. I think it's called Polycryo. Very lightweight, it's very durable. Now I will say if you get a tear in it, you'll need to tape it. But other than that, it's really lightweight. So far I just have this laid down. Obviously I'll cut this down to size once I figure out how I want to set this up. And then I've just laid the hammock in here for right now. I'm kind of torn as to whether or not I'm going to use the spreader bars or not. I'll figure that out here in a little bit. Oh man, is it hot? It is. It's got to be 100 degrees with like 100% humidity. So here's what I have so far. Okay, then I'm gonna scroll around and show you. So I'm on a bit of an incline. So I put that higher because that's the head end, that's the foot end. So what I was trying to do is not have to add anything additional to this, like guy lines or anything like that. So I used the existing ones that I have, and those worked out fine. And then what I did is, instead of adding more lines here, I just used the strap like so, and then just put the little ring over top. Now I will say this was the hardest part. These straps are very hard. It's the only thing I don't like about this hammock is these are near impossible to adjust in and out. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've pinched my finger in these little triangle metal stays, but that's what it looks like. I will say, with it being hot, this plastic, you get your knees on it, it just sticks to it. It sticks to anything that's wet. So if you're setting this up out in the heat like I am right now, when you're kneeling down on that in shorts, it is kind of aggravating. So, and then I've got one part of the net, or the actual hammock, set up, and I think I am going to have to use the spreader bars just to keep it somewhat rigid. So I'll go set that up and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's what I ended up with. I lost one of the little plastic clips that goes onto the bug net, so I had to improvise, but I just used one of the beaners, one of these that I usually use for this. Probably should have put it at the head end, but that's the setup. So it's going to be more like a bivvy. Now, would I want to do this every day? No. This was a little cumbersome to put this all together. However, if I were out somewhere where I thought I would be hammock camping the entire time and got to an area where I couldn't, this is very doable with no extra pieces except for the ground cloth. And I think that was about $7 on Amazon. It's just a window insulation kit. It's 7 by 10. I do plan on cutting it down, or at least cutting it in half, and I can always overlap the two pieces. That way when I do use it for hammock camping, I can just use half of that ground sheet. But I think it is doable. So I'm gonna go ahead and get inside and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so there's my feet. I have enough room, not a problem. And here's the head end. Again, I've got enough room here, no problem. Move this in a little bit. So, oh, yeah, it's definitely not ideal. I would not want to do this all the time, but it can be done if you had to in a pinch. So good. All right, so like I said, it's not ideal, but it can be done. I'm gonna zip this up here. So there it is, zipped up. And I've got room. This thing is not, it's not in my face, which would drive me nuts. I will say the sides do touch my arms a little bit, but again, it's not impossible. If I had to do this, set this up, this took me probably 15 minutes to set it up. I think after a little practice, I could probably get that way down as far as timing. But again, it's not impossible. It is more like a bivvy though, so you're not gonna have a lot of room underneath here. The other thing would be, where do you put your pack? You probably have to put it off to the side, maybe shift this over a little bit, which again would require you adjusting everything. But I think I could still put my pack right here. It's kind of tight quarters. But again, I didn't want to set this up as, you know, like a permanent tent, like doing this all the time. This is kind of a way as having a backup plan, so I don't have to take a tent and a hammock. So it can be done. Again, it's not easy, it's not ideal, but it can be done. I would say in a really heavy storm, I would not sleep well with this setup the way it is. I think in a really heavy storm with high winds, this thing is probably not going to be on top of you when you wake up in the morning. But there it is. This is Jeff with the Common Sense Camper, camping out. Whew, man, it's hot. I'm turning red.